I've always been the kind of person who travels alone, not because I prefer solitude, but because coordinating schedules, money and courage with friends has always been harder than just booking the ticket myself. People like to talk about traveling. I like to actually do it. So, when I realized I'd been to almost every major city in California except San Diego, I booked the flight without thinking twice. It was my first time traveling completely alone. San Diego felt safe on paper. Sunshine, tourists, walkable downtown streets. I booked a mid-range hotel close enough to everything that I wouldn't need a car. When I walked into the lobby after landing, jet-lagged but excited, it felt like the right choice. That's when I met him. He was standing near the elevators, maybe 5 or 6 years older than me, dressed casually but neatly. As I waited to check in, he struck up a conversation. Where I was from, how long I'd be staying, whether I'd been to San Diego before. He told me it was his second time there and that he was also traveling alone. When I finally got my room key, he offered to help carry my bags since he was heading upstairs anyway. I hesitated for half a second. Then I told myself not to be paranoid. The elevator ride was quiet. When we reached my floor, he carried my bags down the hall and set them gently outside my door. He smiled, told me to enjoy my stay, and walked away. Nothing about it felt wrong, at least, not yet. After a quick nap, I went back down to the lobby. As I stepped outside, the woman working the front desk called me over. She lowered her voice immediately. She asked what the man had done when we went upstairs. I told her he'd just helped me with my bags. Her expression changed. She told me she'd seen him standing outside the hotel for a long time before I arrived, that he'd come in moments after me, that she was fairly certain he wasn't staying there. If you see him again, she said, stay away from him. The rest of the day passed in a haze. I explored the city, ate dinner, tried to convince myself that I was overreacting. But when I returned to my room to change, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had already gone wrong. While lying down, there was a knock at my door. Then a quiet male voice. Housekeeping. I hadn't requested housekeeping, it was my first day. I checked the peephole. The hallway was empty. My chest tightened as the man from the lobby filled my thoughts. I called the front desk. They confirmed no one had been sent to my room. At my request, a maid came up to check on me. I thanked her, grabbed my purse, and left for dinner with shaking hands. That night, after a city lights tour, I returned around 10 and explained everything to the front desk worker on duty. She checked the security cameras on my floor. The hallway was empty. I went upstairs, locked my door, and turned on the TV. I don't know how long I was asleep when the sound of the TV began blending into my dreams. That's when I felt the mattress shift. Weight pressed down behind me. I turned my head and saw a man climbing onto the bed. He wore a black mask and a baseball cap pulled low. He reached for my mouth. I screamed. I fought like an animal, thrashing, biting, clawing, screaming until someone began pounding on the door. He shoved the woman who had come to help me to the ground and sprinted down the hallway. The police were called. The footage showed the man entering my room with a master key. They never caught him. The hotel reimbursed me and moved me to another room. I finished the trip, but I never slept well again. I probably should have pressed charges against the hotel. I didn't. A few years earlier, during my freshman year of college, I learned that danger doesn't always knock. Sometimes it sits next to you. It was Christmas break, and I was flying home to Bulgaria to surprise my family. I was exhausted by the time I boarded my flight from JFK to Istanbul. The plane was full. My seat was between two men. The man to my right was quiet. The man to my left was not. He muttered to himself, picked at his skin, nudged his arm against mine repeatedly. Sometimes I'd look up and find him staring at me. I tried to ignore him. At one point, while I was watching American Horror Story, he leaned toward me and asked why I was watching something that portrayed mentally ill people as monsters. I told him I was just watching a show. He stared directly into my eyes and said, "People who skin others alive aren't crazy. Aren't we all like that?" I laughed weakly and didn't sleep for the rest of the flight. Weeks later, after returning to New York, I found a note inside my tote bag. "I wish I could see what you look like under your skin." A month later, my sister sent me a news article. The man had been arrested in Istanbul for rape, attempted kidnapping, and murder. After that, I stopped traveling for a while. Until 2018, my girlfriend Claire and I booked a week at an all-inclusive beach resort in Mexico. It was cheap, beautiful, and surrounded by jungle. On our third day we rented a car. The shuttle driver warned us not to stray far from the coast. We did anyway. We drove down a dirt road into the jungle. That's when 3 men stepped onto the road ahead of us. One of them pulled a knife. I floored it. The next day at a cenote near the resort, a man tried to lead us off the marked trail. There was a knife in his back pocket. We ran. 3 people tried to open our car doors. We escaped again. We never left the resort after that. People love to say traveling opens your mind. What it really does is show you how thin the line is between safety and becoming someone else's story. I still travel, but I never forget that sometimes being foreign doesn't mean being far from home.